Hello and welcome to episode. I just bit my lip.
What an intro!
108 of the Boot Nerds Podcast. JayMike, what's going on?
Well, that just made my day. I'm pretty good, my man. You know, the weather's good over here. We're out playing football. It's football's awesome, man. It's life is good, I would say in general. How's life in Canada?
It got cold again. I don't know why. Yeah, it's not been a great thing. We kind of went back into like full shutdown.
What?
It's a little bit of a mess over here, to be honest. But in general, life is good. I'm not sure if you've heard, Jay, but for like the 9th week in a row, there is a new release at puregripsocks.com.
Come on, get a grip.
And we now have 4 additional colors that you guys have been asking for the classic sleeves, which is the longer variation, kind of a traditional look to it. They're now available in red, navy blue, light blue, and royal blue for $11.99 a pair. puregripsocks.com. Go check it out. Thank you so much for all your support.
Man, you don't know how to slow down. you just keep going. That's pretty awesome. And speaking of new releases, Josh, and that's going to be a little bit of the topic today. We have this one, which is called the Copa Sense Primeknit, and it's very purple and it's very pink, and it is also something that we've seen before. So basically, this is the purple version of the Copa 70 year anniversary boot, which they made, I think, was it two years ago now? Must be.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't. Let me just check. But obviously, this is the first time, I haven't seen it in hand before, basically a few hours before this. What's your first take on it?
One word?
Yeah, one word.
Why? Why? I feel like we have been like kind of ragging on some new releases over the last month or two.
Yeah.
This might be at the top of the list of like questionable football boot releases of 2021. Like I don't understand who this is for. I don't understand who asked for that. I don't understand the group of people within Adi that sat around a table and agreed that this was a good idea. I feel like this is the product of like not face-to-face COVID meetings over webcams, and people can't understand each other properly, and somehow this just slipped through the cracks and got approved.
That's one of the most amazing first impressions I think I've ever heard. You reckon they were sitting around and someone said, "Okay, let's make a black and red, let's make a red Copa Primeknit," and the connection was bad, and someone thought they said purple. Okay, well, it's not ideal, but let's go with purple. Big Boss said purple, so we'll run with purple. I mean, let's go back. It was apparently 2 years ago because, our memories are great. We are the Boot Nerds. Well, it's a good thing we have YouTube. But 2 years ago, they dropped this. And the story was, of course, that the OG Copa Mundials were made with, obviously, leather on the outside and then a textile inner liner. So they just, I don't know what it had to do with the 70 year anniversary, but they just flipped that recipe. So you now have leather on the inside, which is actually a very, very weird but also really interesting feeling, and then textile, so knit on the outside, and it was worn by Paulo Dybala in a couple of matches. Obviously had the Copa 19 tooling on, and was for all purposes, a very, very comfortable football boot, but probably also not the most practical you've ever seen, but I like the look of it, and it was a really, really fun boot. With this is the same boot. So you have your leather on the inside. It's this pinkish leather on the inside of the tongue and the heel, and then you have basically, what color is that? Yeah, it's purple leather on the inside, and then of course you have purple Primeknit on top. But other than that, it's the same recipe except for the fact that you have the Copa Sense tooling. And I guess this is kind of in line with the whole super spectral pack that they use a lot of purple and pink. And I get that, but like you said, why this? Why this Copa 70 year, which is now called the Copa Sense Primeknit, although it has nothing to do with the Copa Sense apart from the tooling. I mean, I just don't I don't get the story other than someone wanted to do a purple knitted Copa.
It's just, look, it's
I
kind of reminiscent
think
of the Samba Copas that we saw back in 2014.
But they had a purpose, right? Yeah, that was 2014. And that, they had a purpose because, it was the classic Copa Mundial reimagined in the new Samba World Cup colors. And I thought that was a pretty cool release. And this obviously reminds me a lot of that purple OG Copa Mundial. So there's also that reference, which is, I mean, it's pretty fun. I just don't understand the timing. So I understand the product to some extent. I just don't understand why now? Why this?
Yeah. It's just even the colors that they've gone for, like purple and pink. How many people that want to wear a Copa Mundial still, let alone want to wear a Copa Mundial that costs twice as much as a pair of Copa Mundials with some weird prime knit upper hybrid thing, want to wear one that is purple and pink? They have targeted literally the smallest football boot demographic that exists. I hope they're happy. I hope they buy them up, all 4 people that fit that category. But Adi is a brand that has been so focused on doing all these Predator remakes. We saw remakes of classic F50 models already. Why not? We know that there is a group of people out there that would love color variations of the classic Copa Mundial, even if it is purple and pink. Why not just make that?
Well, yeah, and I mean, we got those 2 Copas in the Eternal Class Pack, which were, I mean, they were nice.
Yeah.
So it's just that's probably what I would have gone for if they want to make this, because I probably wouldn't wear it myself because, as I said, it's not the most practical thing in the world, having unprotected knit, but it's just so wildly comfortable, and it has that, it just takes that, the comfort level and that slipper sensation from the OG Copas, and it just amps it up to 2000. But make it white and black, or, navy, just, yeah, you're right. I'm probably not as mad at it as you are. I think this is probably the harshest criticism I've heard for you in ages. But yeah, it just feels a little. Why? So we've just talked. We've basically just talked for 7-10 minutes instead of just backing you up when you said why in the beginning. Very nice recap there.
How do you rate this out of 10, Jay?
I would say if it had been any other colorway, I would actually rate it like a 7.5, 8. Because I think the boot as it is very, very nice. It's a nice execution. The materials are nice, and I actually like the concept a whole lot. It's a great concept. I just happen to like the original a lot more because it's actually, Copa colors. So this, I would say, is a 4.5, 5-ish.
Wow, that's generous.
Colors. Wow, you're going lower?
That's generous. Look, the boot as a concept, whatever. I think I kind of understand it for 70-year anniversary. It's this hybrid of their iconic model. It incorporates some of the modern tech in the Primeknit. It's in a classic color. Okay, I get it. I still don't think it's a great wearable football boot, but as a collector's item, I understand. This comes out of nowhere with no real explanation, no justification for the abysmal color choice. It's $250. This is about as deliberate a 1 out of 10 you can possibly have. I don't know, Jay, who buys that shoe? Who? Adidas should just send them straight to the outlets because there's nobody's buying that.
Wow.
No one's buying that. Who's buying that? If you're watching this video and you are going to buy a pair of these Copas, I would like you to DM me a picture and a justification as to why you would like these, because I don't think that person exists.
You might. It's a controversial colorway, definitely. I would like to believe that there's someone out there who, is like the younger generation who would think that maybe you and I are just two old, grumpy men who just like we're too conservative. I mean, maybe that's the point. I mean, I was at training yesterday, and one of the guys on my team has those purple, green, blue, yellow Nemesis 0.1s, right? And we were just talking about them, and he really likes them. And I was like, okay, but they're also they're pretty loud, they're pretty bold, as indicating that I don't really like them that much. And he was like, yeah, and they look so cool. I was like, oh, yeah, but they stand out, yeah, definitely. And he was like, yeah, they're so awesome, and they're purple. So that just, if anything, opened my eyes to the fact that I might just be the most conservative black and white, black, traditional colors boot snob in the history of football boots. And I might not appreciate that there will be a lot of young players out there who think that, okay, they know Copa, it's Primeknit, and it's like mega flashy. Who knows? That's why I'm hesitant to go like super low. Personally, I don't like the colors, but I think that we might be overlooking the appeal for. Yeah, I don't hate this as much as you do. Let me just put it that way.
You can't. I love how you're trying to justify it and you can't figure out a possible reason. It's okay. I can be right this time, Jay. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I'll give you this one. I've been right for 107 episodes, so it's okay. Controversial statement. Okay, how would you rate the OGs then? Just to get that.
I think it's an interesting concept. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. I think that's where it's at.
So you're basically taking the purple one down to a 1 out of 10 because of the colors.
Yes.
Wow.
The colors, it doesn't make it just. Here is a 70-year anniversary Copa Mundial, 2 years after the 70-year anniversary, in a colorway that has no significance to the Copa Mundial whatsoever, no significance to anything that we've currently released, and is a color combination that is something that nobody who would want to wear a Copa would ever want to wear. And for $250.
Yeah, you make some nice points, but I still call color snob. Color snob.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, with that bombshell of a rating, I think it's time we move on to some questions here.
Questions. And if you have any questions for the next episode that you'd like us to potentially answer, please leave it down below in the comment section. We very much appreciate it.
And also, if you have any Nike ID concepts that you would like us to take a look at, send them in. The email is going to pop up on the screen, or send us a DM on Instagram. You can see our can you see? Yeah, I think you can see our handles on the screen. Mm-hmm. So with that said, I mean, now that we are in a slightly critical, negative mood, there were some just bumped into some comments that I just don't like when you're watching the Boot Nerds podcast, and this guy is Sariab Ahmed. It's mostly banter. Nice dimple, Jay. Apparently, I had a dimple in my forehead. It pops just like the Super Spectral back. Had a good laugh about that. I'm a little bit. I don't know if I have one now, but it should be this massive, big one on my forehead. It's probably because my hairline is so shit that the dimples stand out more. That's how it goes. And then there was also this guy in the comments who really, really didn't like my opinion on the Super League, and he said, "It's not a cultural thing, Jay. It's that people are scared of change, including you." This guy, apparently, thinks that the English clubs pull out because fans. I'm sorry, but UEFA paid them to leave. UEFA has a monopoly on the market, and you are just a part of it, Jay. You are everything that's wrong with the Super League. It's your come on, man. Anyways, we had some actually good comments here. Goodwill Racing question. Oh, that guy was you. I see now. I see what you're doing.
Who, me? No, that wasn't me. I promise it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Josh is Chris Rico. That's the one. Anyways, Goodwill Racing question for the next podcast. Why don't either of you review the Asics Ultresa AI? Thank you. Well, Goodwill Racing. I don't know about you, Josh.
Availability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you get those?
Exactly. I mean, you can go on Rakuten, I think, and buy them from Japan. But out of experience, buying stuff from Japan as a European guy in these COVID times is very, very difficult because you have to go like Google Translate on the Japanese websites, and also shipping. Shipping is a bitch at the moment.
Shipping is crazy, so and then you don't know about your import stuff too, like import taxes, right? Like you order these boots, you paid $250, $300 for them. You paid another $75 to have them shipped from Japan. And then they show up at your door and like, oh, we can't give you your package until you pay $200 in duties and taxes. Yeah, so then you're in like $700 for a pair of Asics football boots.
And that's the thing, right? Being in the European Union, we're used to like the goods can travel freely across borders. But when you bring stuff in from outside the EU, America, or anywhere in Asia, it's a major hassle. So, I mean, Asics, you can send us some Ultresa AIs and we'll take a look at them. I would like to see some of the Asics boots. The X-Flies look very interesting, but it's just like, it's a major hassle to get them when you're not in Asia, I guess. Or markets where Asics sell boots. I mean, had we sold them at Unisport, cool. But yeah, we don't. Yeah. Poet asks, all right, guys, why doesn't Nike incorporate Anti-clog onto their FG sole plates?
You want to answer that, or I can answer it?
Well, I think I don't know. We might have a different answer. I think it's two things mainly. The anti-clog treatment, the anti-clog material still needs a little bit more bulk than the traditional FG tooling, and also is to give that exclusivity, that desirability to the SG Pro tooling, or that's just called SG now, I think. To have like as a unique selling proposition for that tooling as well. And then again, how much sense would it make on an FG pair? Like if you're taking an FG pair onto a soft ground pitch that would be muddy, Nike would probably want you to buy that extra pair of boots, so they're making exclusive to the SG Pros. SGs. It's not called SG Pro anymore.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I do have a slightly different answer. Along with what you just said, anti-clog is something that's designed to function not just on a soft natural grass pitch, but a wet soft natural grass pitch. The anti-clog, the way that mud does not stick to the bottom is by way of moisture or water in the surface, or just from rain. It's a wet environment, soft ground. So when you go with a firm ground boot, you're not always going to be playing on a wet pitch. Certainly most of the time, depending on where you live, you're not going to be playing on a wet pitch, and the actual surface of the material itself scratches very easily. It's something that they mention inside the box, that if you scratch up the surface of the anti-clog sole plate, it's no longer anti-clog. It's just regular plastic at that point. So if you're wearing them on firm ground pitches that aren't that soft, it's going to get super scratched up. And if it's not that soft and super dry, you're going to ruin the anti-clog finish in probably just one wear. So it's just not a material that lends itself well to being used in all different types of environments. It's very like specific to one thing. And I know I've used like the summer tire, winter tire comparison many times on this podcast, but that's a perfect example of that. It's really designed for one specific reason. Very specialized, and it's to give you the best performance in that environment.
That was a great answer, to be honest. Much better than mine. And the fact that we're talking it's made for, it only works when it's wet. I mean, when I use it on muddy pitches, I even like pour water over it to kind of activate anti-clog before I go out and play, in case the pitch is not wet enough. And as you say, if you just go on FG pitches and you don't really activate anti-clog, you're just gonna, what's it called in English? It's going to wear off. It's going to, it's not going to work. So there's no point.
Yeah.
I think
it's always been like, and I get it, and the question is a fair question, but I've always found it funny with a lot of people in the football boot world, how everybody wants to buy top end boots because they're looking for that like optimal performance, the best quality, stuff like that. But then they also seem to think that there's like one thing that's going to work the best in every situation. If you really want the best, I think I see Nike's taking a lot of flack for doing AG sole plates and FG sole plates and SG sole plates. Why don't they do multi-ground? Why don't they do FG AG? I still think that if optimal performance is what you're after, I think you're always better off with a brand that's making something specific to a certain surface.
That's also the reason that when they drive, if we stay in the car world, that's also the reason that race cars are made specifically for the track.
Yeah,
and it just function better. Like you said, winter tires. It just makes sense. And yes, it's more expensive. And yes, it would be nice if we just had a one boot fits all. But then it would be just average in all those areas. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But as a consumer, it would be nice if we could just squeeze everything into one product. But as far as I'm aware, that's just not possible at the moment. Then we would need to go back to a Tuned style boot, and that was pretty rubbish. So let's not go down that route.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, they've tried. Adi tried, and it didn't work. Tuned, Glitch, just never really took off. Probably because Tuned was crap, and Glitch just wasn't really available to the wider market.
Yeah.
No, that's what it is. Alejandro A. Best. I've always wondered why Messi switched the material on the upper of his boots. As we all know, he used to be heavy on the leather Adi Zero, but suddenly began wearing all synthetic. I just found out that he's a vegan. Do you think this is why he changed his preference on boot uppers? It's a good question. I've never actually really paid that much attention to him switching upper materials. Apart from, when he went from the Adidas, I think up until he got his own Messi line, he was wearing leather or hybrid touch, at least on his boots, to give that leathery feel, right? So when he moved to the Messi boots, 15 was of course also, it had that leathery sensation on the upper. When we moved into the 16s, he went into Primeknit. I never thought about that it was like a statement like David Beckham had back in the day, but it might be the case. I merely just thought that what Messi liked about leather boots, he was able to get in synthetic materials because of technology. He simply got the same level of comfort, the same padded touch in the synthetic materials that he probably appreciated in leather. But it's not a bad theory that he simply switched because he was a vegan.
I had no idea he was vegan. That's completely new information to me. And I just Googled it really quickly, and it says he's not a strict vegan. He eats meat sometimes, but during the season, he does not eat meat.
Oh.
Apparently he feels better not eating meat.
Right. I mean, as an Argentinian, not eating meat when you have beef like that would be a little bit of a shame.
Yeah, so he eats it in the off season, but he doesn't eat it during the season, according to this one article that I read.
Okay,
in the 30 seconds of research that I've done. So does that play a part in it? Maybe. I'm sure it has something to do with it.
Probable, yeah.
But I think you made a good point there in saying that synthetics have improved a lot from the start of Messi's career to where they're at now. I don't agree with you saying that there's synthetics that have mimicked the feel of leather so well that there's no more need for him to wear a leather boot. But I think that they're able to produce synthetics that he likes the feel of more. And look, ultimately, it's a comfort thing. It's a personal preference thing. The guy's getting custom boots. We don't really even know if the boots he's wearing are made out of the usual Nemesis materials. We know he has a custom tongue and stuff like that.
And there's tons of foam inside. So that might also, if he wants that material and if what he liked with leather was that padded feel, then they might be able to replicate. And of course, you can't replicate the feeling of leather, not even with hybrid touch or Kangalite or anything like that. But if they can go and pinpoint the areas that he wanted which made him choose leather, then maybe he would be more inclined to actually pushing the products or the materials that are on the inline boots. That was my point.
And look, Messi's not like a singular case of this happening. I just remember back when Adi Power turned into Predator LZ.
Yes.
Every pro wearing Predators was now wearing synthetic Predators when they had been wearing leather boots if they had worn Predators up until that point in their career. A lot of guys just made the switch. Synthetics had progressed to a point where guys felt comfortable enough to do it. So, look, they've improved tremendously.
Except for Robin Van Persie. Do you remember?
Yes.
Do you remember those boots that he had?
Super weird Predator Frankenstein boots. Very cool.
Amazing. It was an Adi Zero with like tons of stitching. Leather Adi Zero, tons of stitching, custom colorway, and the Adi Power tooling. Like, I would love to get my hands on one of those boots one day. Robin Van Persie, amazing player.
Super cool.
Yeah.
But interesting question.
A very interesting question. And to be fair, we don't know. And I think only Messi and the sport marketing guys doing his boots at Adidas will really know the true reason behind it. But we can guess. Joe, Kelly, who do you both support? I think that's more a question for you, Josh. I think it's pretty clear that I'm a very, very biased Manchester United supporter.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I think I've answered this question on the podcast a number of times already.
Yeah, people still don't know, apparently.
When I was younger, I was a devout Arsenal fan. I was a big Thierry Henry fan. Recently, I'm a little bit less strict on like who I'm like a hardcore fan of. I kind of just enjoy watching the game and being a little bit of a neutral. I've always been somebody that, like, when I get too emotionally invested in something that I realistically have no control over, I just end up getting unnecessarily frustrated and stressed out. And I just, it's something that I don't want in my life.
That's what being a Manchester United fan is, basically. It's a whole lot of frustration.
Like last year, football's a little bit trickier to watch over here, but just because of the time that it's on at. It's either in the middle of the day or super early in the morning on the weekend. So you really have to like make your time to watch everything. And especially if you're following some of the teams in Europe and stuff, it's finding the channel it's on or streaming service sometimes is impossible. Nonetheless, I spent last year and I watched every single Toronto Maple Leafs game. And I decided I was going to be a hardcore Toronto fan.
Wait,
NHL hockey for those that don't know.
Is that a team called Toronto Maple Leafs? That is the most Canadian thing. That is the most Canadian thing I've ever heard in my life. That's amazing.
Never heard of that? Never. That's like the most. They're like arguably the most popular team in the NHL.
Oh, it's a hockey team.
Hockey team, yes.
Why am I not surprised? Why am I not? I'm not surprised that we actually talk about which team do you support, and you mention a hockey team.
Well, I'm just giving an example. I watched all 82 games, and then because of the COVID season, they had this like qualifier for the playoffs.
Oh my God.
They ended up losing. I was so upset, and I decided, I'm like, this is the last time that I become a super hardcore devoted sports fan. Dude, because I was miserable. Because of something that I had nothing to do with.
I would pay money to see you get riled up, worked up over watching hockey, the Maple Leafs. That would actually be amazing. I've never thought of you as like someone who, obviously I go completely ballistic when Manchester United play, like completely. I just can't control my emotions. You know, when United went through against PSG a couple of years back, I actually did a knee slide over a couple of meters in front of the TV, and my girlfriend was filming it for Snapchat and all that stuff. It was so stupid. I just couldn't help myself. I never imagined you being a guy like that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, there's not a lot of jumping up and down. It's mostly just yelling.
Okay.
It's just yelling at the TV.
When it's hockey, but when it's actual football, you just don't give a
I'd like to be more relaxed and just like, appreciate what's happening from both sides.
So let's say, who would you, if you have to, like, gun to your head, 2 girls over drinks, you have to say one team, football team you support. Who would you go with?
Look, I guess I'll say Arsenal because that's
Friendship
like, why
over.
should I switch?
Why should I switch? Because it's a joke of, you know.
I know it's bad. It's not a great situation for them right now. They really should have stuck into that Super League. It would have been good for them.
And they would have at least won a trophy if they were the last one. Oh, yeah. So are they going down the Spurs route? They just never ever win a trophy.
It looks like it, right? Like I don't understand what they're trying to do over there.
And look, it's going to be, I shouldn't talk too much now because, with that said, it's going to come back to haunt me when Arsenal beat Man United in the Europa League final if Man United managed to get that far. So that's probably what's going to happen. So jokes on Man United.
Yeah, I was watching a Gary Neville interview and they were asking him who he would want. No, it wasn't Gary Neville.
Carragher?
It wasn't Carragher.
Micah Richards?
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane. Ooh.
Not Roy Keane. Keane. The guy who played for Manchester United, the striker. What's his name? He's like a commentator for the BBC. Is it Keane? Am I wrong?
Keane was a midfielder. What do you mean? The BBC? I don't watch the British game. But I don't think Ruud van Nistelrooy, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Teddy Sheringham.
No, it's Roy Keane. I was right. It's Roy Keane. It was Roy Keane. And they were asking him. I know. I'm all over the place right now. Sorry. They're asking him who he wants Manchester United to buy if he would want Haaland or Kane. So I'm asking you, who would you rather they buy?
Oh, Erling Haaland, definitely.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a good question because Harry Kane is obviously proven world class, and he just works in the Premier League. He just gets you goals. But he's also like, how old is he? 28, 29 now?
Yeah,
and
right around
now
there.
is the time to move. I read just before we went live here that he had said that his ambition was to win as a team, win trophies as a team, and right now that's just not happening. That's kind of like saying I need to move. So he's more than welcome at Manchester United, I would say. But if money wasn't an issue, both players wanted to come, I would go for Erling Haaland because I think he's Norwegian. The manager is Norwegian, and he would be one of those players with Manchester United DNA in the sense that he just goes out there and he does not accept to lose. Like, he gets so mad when they lose. So mad. He's already so mad when you're speaking to the press when they win. He hates the press, right? When they lose, man, he is not happy. He's not happy. So I would take Haaland also just for longevity. You could basically build a potentially title-winning team for many, many years just on that guy.
Yeah,
machine.
He's such a good interview, and it'd be great in the British media. It'd be funny,
like a train wreck. I think he would actually, in his darkest moments, he would probably make Eric Cantona look like a talkative guy. we might have another when the seagulls follow the trawler, it's because they think sardines will get thrown into the sea kind of moment, which is one of the best moments in football press conferences ever. I said it. Anyways, that was. We just have one last comment. Jay, please don't buy next season Manchester United merchandise. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart, and that is probably to make sure we don't support the Glazers because we want the Glazers gone. Maxi, I can assure you that I'm not going to put any money into the official club pocket. So all the Manchester United merchandise I have is something I have been wearing for Unisport. So I haven't paid for it. I'm not gonna support the Glazers. I don't want to do that. Josh, any more comments before we end this? You've been like, I mean, you said everything was good, and then you roll out the mother of all bombs when you gave a 1 out of 10 to this one. Any more comments on this one? You wanna have you like softened up, got a bit more?
I think no, it's still a 1 out of 10.
Wow.
There's no changing my mind on that. Again, personal challenge to any viewer of the Boot Nerds podcast. If you actually buy those boots, please DM me a picture. We'll shout you out on the Boot Nerds podcast.
Okay.
It's the least we could do if you're going to spend money on those. Oh my God. Who's going to buy them?
I mean, I'd probably buy the black ones instead, but again, man, I'm 32. I can't tell anymore. Clearly, I'm not My finger's not on the pulse anymore. I'm too old and conservative when it comes to color. But anyways, guys, don't forget to leave your questions in the comment section right down below, or comments on these. Also, don't forget to send in your Nike ID designs. Either DM us on Instagram, send it to the email. It's going to be somewhere on the screen or in the comments. And tune back next week for more of the Boot Nerds podcast, where Josh is hopefully in a slightly better mood. With those words, I've been JayMike, and I approve this message. Oh, and subscribe to everything. It's on the screen. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Ruthless, man. Absolute savage.